But let's start off the segment. This is Medicine Made Easy with Dr. Azizi. Hey, yo, what it do? We're back. Let's talk about flatulence. Today, we talk about... Yeah, baby. All right, we're back, baby. Still behind on the episode, so I still don't know what number this is. It's becoming the catchphrase of the show, and I don't like it. But nothing I can do about it, I guess.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I really need a replacement for that button. But with that said, this is episode whatever, and clever. There's been a little bit of an absence. Not that I'm totally caught up to real time as far as recording these and getting them out to y'all, but, you know, it's not much, but it's honest work. I love that meme. Oh, that's a great meme. Yum, delicious memes. Okay, let's not dilly-dally. Today's topics are going to be, whoa, don't get carried away for the YouTube viewers. The sneaker box, I know you see it. We'll get to it, I promise. But first things first, we're going to do the medical topic. None of these make any sense. Actually, that could have worked. So we'll do the medical topic, which will today be flatulence. Woo! Yeah, flatulence. I do get a fair number of questions about this, but I figured today we'll dig deep. Okay. What was I going to say? Bruh? Oh, okay. So the topics, flatulence, and then we'll go into the sneaker. Stay tuned. Then we'll do sneaker releases. Then we'll do a Lakers segment, followed by a sports topic, which I will pick up on at random, and then we'll end it with a live Q&A. How about that? Huh? How about that? Okay. All right, so let's get to the flatulence part of the deal. And again, this will all be brought to you by Up-to-Date Database. But let's start off the segment. This is Medicine Made Easy with Dr. Azizi. Hey, yo, what it do? We're back. Let's talk about flatulence. I don't have a sound alert for that. Damn, son. Yeah, whatever. But let's just dive right in. Trey Songz triggered. All right, so the volume of gas in the intestinal tract is approximately 200 milliliters in both the fasting and postprandial states in both normal subjects and individuals who complain of gaseous distension. Interesting. So basically that's a fancy way of saying that patients who complain about flatulence and excess gas and all that kind of ish versus, quote, normal subjects, aka people not complaining about that ish, apparently they both release the same amount of gas, apparently. Although I don't know how the frig you track that. Would be lovely to see that study that this little recommendation is based on, or summary is based on, but itty-woodity. Let's keep it moving though. When excessive intestinal gas occurs, it may be due to excessive air swallowing. So I don't know who you air swallowers are out there. Perhaps the people that just walk around like, that's my best guess. Where else? Or increased intraluminal production from malabsorbed nutrients. And we briefly touched on this last time, I want to say, didn't we? Or was I talking to somebody else about this? Oh, in terms of lactose intolerance, yeah, we talked about this. So this is kind of related to that. So, of course, lactose intolerance could give you flatulence like we talked about last time. Let's see, decreased gas absorption due to obstruction. So obviously you have this tunnel basically starting from your mouth ending with your butthole, and in between that is basically a fancy long tunnel. And if at some point there's an obstruction and things can't move forward, then you're going to get a buildup of air because as you talk, even for the people that aren't doing with their mouth all day, like every time you swallow, every time you chew gum, even just regular schmegular talking like this, you'll consume a little bit of air, and that air's got to move somewhere, either belch it back up or move it right along. But if there's an obstruction at any point, gas will just collect there. So that will obviously lead to flatulence, or I guess excessive intestinal gas. The other thing they mentioned is expansion of intraluminal gas due to changes in atmospheric pressure. All right, that's getting a little too specific there, so we're going to skip right ahead from that. Let's talk about belching. Belching is considered a disorder when symptoms are persistent and bothersome. So basically, if you belch and you're cool with it, you're good. Da-da-da. But if it's bothering you, then I guess bring it to your healthcare professionals' attention. And I forget if I should be doing disclaimers for all this issue or not, but this is purely edutainment. This is not medical Bible-ishness. This is not instructions for you to do. This is just some thoughts and some thought-provoking questions hopefully come up to you based on my interpretation of it. And then if it so pleases you, you go to your doctor or your healthcare provider of choice to further investigate. All right, back. So belching is a functional syndrome, and the diagnosis is based on a history. So you just take a history, and based on the symptoms you're hearing, which shouldn't be too not specific, I would say, you can kind of get to the bottom of this, I suppose. Patients presenting with excessive belching as their main symptom usually have an increased frequency of supragastric belches. All right, that was unnecessary material. We're going to skip right over that. I shouldn't say unnecessary, just I don't think it's relevant for our types of discussion here. Apparently, psychological and behavioral factors play an important role in this belching syndrome. So maybe think about that. Maybe you need to see a behavioral health specialist, like a psychologist, Dr. Phil Triggered. Belches typically increase when patients are aware they're being observed. You think? Shit. Let's see. And by the way, for the folks wondering, I've been seeming to get this a lot. It's, no shit. Not, shit. No, it's, shit. All right? Let's keep it moving. Let's see. Excessive belching is also associated with GERD, a.k.a. gastroesophageal reflux disease, basically reflux, heartburn. So excessive belching is associated with heartburn, reflux, GERD, and functional dyspepsia, but is not the predominant symptom. So just because you have excess burpage doesn't translate into some of these other disorders. Presence of alarm features, and those are the following: weight loss, abdominal pain, dysphagia, which basically means you have difficulty swallowing, heartburn, and regurgitation are an indication for further diagnostic evaluation with an upper endoscopy and or imaging to rule out other etiologies, basically other potential issues it could be. Now, obviously, in my world, when I get sent patients for this kind of ish, I pursue the endoscopies because that's what I does. And I probably would do it for someone that came in reporting that they're having this persistent belching, it won't go away. They've tried everything. They have some of these alarm symptoms, perhaps difficulty swallowing, perhaps simply pain, perhaps simply reflux and heartburn. And, for that reason, I would say giddy up. Kramer triggered. Let's see. Yeah, so I guess specific exercises that patients can be referred for. If we think it's mostly a behavioral thing, they can be referred for that, for kind of diaphragmatic breathing exercises. And then stopping gum chewing, smoking, drinking carbonated beverages, because those bubbles got to go somewhere. And gulping foods and liquids, which I am a big fan of doing, unfortunately. So I finish my food dumb quick, and I probably swallow OD amounts of air. Very probable. In patients with underlying depression or anxiety, treatment should be initiated. Initiate the treatment! That's so freaky. All right. Patients with coexisting acid reflux may require acid suppressive therapy for management of GERD. Well, shit. Just kidding, but for real deal. But for realsies, though. I was trying to combine for realsies and though. Anyway, clearly if you have reflux disease, definitely treat that issue with the acid suppression. Okay, we can skip over that. Bloating. Let's get into bloating. Come on down. Okay. So, did I skip it? Oh, no, right here. Okay, so bloating refers to a sensation of abdominal fullness, pressure, or a sensation of trapped gas, whereas distension is a measurable increase in abdominal girth. All right, this is just semantics at this point. But basically what it's saying is bloating is a patient-reported symptom. It's not something I can prove. It's just what you tell me. And whereas distension is something I say. You can't say, yeah, doc, I feel distended. Nah, bruh, you feel bloated. I try to do that. Stop trying to act all smartish. Actually, no, don't try to act. Just like be it. Just do it. Just do it. Nike triggered. But in all seriousness, where'd I go? Oh, I just lost it. God damn it. Oh, yeah. So you can't. So distension is something that I measure, basically, increase in abdominal growth. And I'd have to do serial abdominal exams to appreciate it. So, like, if you come in saying, yo, doc, I'm bloated and I feel your belly, that's my baseline, that first exam. So I can't even really tell what's going to happen. But I can compare day to day with, like, a daily physical exam, for example. Or if it's getting worse, I should be appreciating more and more distension. I'd be like, ooh, that's a little tight. There's a lot of air stuck in there. And that'll kind of dictate your management style. So just keep that in mind. That's kind of cool. Bloating and distension due to intestinal gas may be due to an organic cause that results in excessive intestinal gas. So these are the kind of things like lactose intolerance, like we talked about last time, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or SIBO for short, SIBO, or celiac disease. So these are all reasons why it may be due to excess intestinal gas resulting in bloating and distensions, because these conditions all are somewhat related to the villi in the intestine and their ability to do their job or be obstructed from doing their job, whether it's from bacteria, for example, and then that leads to excessive gas formation. Initial evaluation of a patient with bloating and or distension includes a history and physical to identify alarm symptoms. So I wonder what these alarm symptoms are. So that would be nocturnal abdominal pain. So pain so bad it makes you wake up in the middle of the night. Weight loss. Weight loss is always a red flag for almost any and all conditions and symptoms we ask for typically. So, yeah, weight loss, if you're starting to see that, definitely raises whatever's bothering you to your doctor if you ain't had done it already. Blood in the stool. Always blood is an alarm symptom. Severely tender abdomen. I mean, if it's that painful, severe, definitely look into that. Succussion splash. I used to remember what this was because this word is hilarious, but I don't anymore. So we're just going to skip it. Doesn't sound all that much different from the rest of these. Fever, vomiting, steatorrhea, which is a fancy way of saying shitting fat out in a diarrheal manner. Actually, I guess it doesn't have to be technically diarrheal. It just means that the fat content in your stool is way above average. So you typically get these fat, floaty, smelly, stinky stools that just float in the toilet bowl. That's kind of a clue that you may have excess fat in your shit. And then new onset diarrhea, also a alarm symptom, I guess. So let's go back. If it'll let me. Good. And then, so if you have any of those alarm symptoms, then I think endoscopy is obviously a recommendation. And of course, imaging and endoscopy will be like kind of your main two go-tos. But then obviously you can do other particular blood tests that can kind of help you figure things out. Perhaps a CBC to look for anemia, or a white blood cell count mock-up, or with the celiac serologies, testing for celiac disease via le antibodies, and then breath test for small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, similar to the breath test you would do for a lactose intolerance. Although, again, the easiest thing in that situation, cut out the milk and the milk products, and if your symptoms stop, you know you got it. And then just avoid that ish. Word. All right. So, yeah, those will be some additional tests you can consider if you're seeing some of these alarm symptoms. Although excessive passage of flatus or its foul odor may be the source of embarrassment, you think? It is rarely associated with serious illness. Interesting. So, excess fartage or excess nastiness to the smell of the farts, it's a myth that it means something serious going down. It just means that sucks, bro. That sucks. No, I'm just playing. Hopefully you don't have this issue. But if you do, it's not like you're farting all day, right? I mean, you could be, I guess. That'd be kind of weird. That'd be kind of a weird handicap, just farting all day. Can you imagine? Like, you can't excuse yourself every 15 minutes to go do something, especially if you're in the middle. Like, can you imagine if I got up every 5 minutes to go fart? Well, I guess I wouldn't have to for this because I don't have any guests. I just have to power through it. But, yeah, this would be an interesting sketch, I think. The man of excess flatulence. Like, how would you get through life? You can't, like, sit down for too long next to people. How do you deal with the subway? How do you deal with being in any line? The bank, DMV. I mean, you're only going to piss off the people behind you. It's not like you can turn around and fart forward to the crowd in front of you to rush them out, unless you're excessively doing it to the point where you fill the whole building and it clears everybody out except you. That could be possible. But then if the workers also get afflicted by your ish, then you just wasted your time going to wherever that was, I guess. Chief. Not it triggered. Which would make the game Tag triggered. Yeah. Remember that game, Tag? You're it. Okay. Where was I? Okay. Yeah, that would be kind of bad. But I guess if it's any consolation to the heavy farters out there, there's nothing medically wrong. I know that's the perfect answer you wanted. Yeah. So yeah, that sucks, but silver lining, it doesn't mean there's something definitely wrong with you, I guess. Dietary history should be taken and focused on gas-producing foods and beverages. Let's see. So additional evaluation for patients with excess fartage depends on alarm symptoms. So again, that's going to be your weight loss, blood in the stool, severely tender belly, waking up in the middle of the night with pain, succussion splash, which again, I should probably just look up what the heck that is. Succussion splash. And what that is, Jamie triggered. Succussion splash, also known as a gastric splash, is a sloshing sound. I feel like I'm making this sound. Okay. Sloshing sound heard through the stethoscope during sudden movement of... Okay, relax. So succussion splash, also known as a gastric splash, is a sloshing sound heard through the stethoscope during the sudden movement of the patient on abdominal auscultation, basically abdominal listening. It reflects the presence of gas and fluid in an obstructed organ, as in gastric outlet obstruction. Got it. Interesting. I have never heard a succussion splash in my life. Then again, my physical exam skills were never my greatest asset, I guess, because especially in the modern era with all this amazing new technology and innovative testing and non-invasive imaging tests, a lot of these things really can't be relied upon for just the physical touch. You got to get some objective evidence and look at the ish, and that's pretty dope. So succussion splash, if I heard it, it wouldn't convince me not to get an x-ray, you know what I mean? I feel like if you have succussion splash, aka an obstruction, then you're going to have some of these other issues that are way clearer to to recognize, like fever, vomiting, nuance of diarrhea, etc., etc. So if you have any of those with the excess farting, then definitely go see your doctor. And then if you don't have any of those things that I listed, then you don't do ish about it. At least don't go to the doctor to get ish done about it, because we ain't going to do nothing. I'm kidding, but in all seriousness, it sounds like there's not really much else to explore there. And I guess we could, just to give you reassurance, but then why do that, right? Because I feel like I should have reassured you just now. But maybe I didn't do a good job and you still want to see your doctor. I respect it. Okay. Last but not least, so for those who complain mostly of just flatulence or bloating, so bloating or excess farting or whatever, If that's the primary and only symptom, then just look into dietary changes, okay? Because a lot of times it may just be your diet that's effed up. And a lot of times it is. We don't eat very well here. Yeah. Patients should be advised to avoid gas-producing foods. So these are your cabbages, your legumes, your onions, your broccoli, your Brussels sprouts, wheat and potatoes. So those are your gas-producing foods, and maybe avoid those, which is going to be tough, man. Just looking at potatoes, wheat, onion. I mean, a lot of people consume that ish, all right? And I guess if you're eating a lot of coleslaw, cut that shit out, man. Oof, all right. And although I love me some okay. In patients without a significant improvement despite exclusion of gas-producing foods, we suggest a diet low in fermentable oligosaccharides, disaccharides, monosaccharides, and polyols. Woo, that's a mouthful, am I right? Let's see what's listed on those tables. So this goes back to what's called a low Fodmap diet, FODMAP, fermentable oligosaccharides, disaccharides, monosaccharides, and polyols. So that stands, the first letter of each of those adds up to Fodmap. So you want to consume a low Fodmap diet. In a lot of cases that leads to these frustrations with patients. And a lot of times, especially if it's purely IBS related, irritable bowel syndrome, a lot of times this diet can work wonders, although it's very difficult to stick to these things. I mean, let me give you some examples. So oligosaccharides, we're talking, this contains fructose and galacto-oligosaccharides, or fructans, sorry, which I assume also includes fructose. So those are your oligosaccharides. Then which means more than 2 saccharides, but not too many. It's like an oligarchy. Then you get your disaccharides versus monosaccharides. So mono is 1 sugar, disaccharides 2 sugars. No cream, please. Let's see. So disaccharides, an example of disaccharides would be lactose. So again, going back to lactose intolerance, that's an excess of that particular disaccharide that you can't break down, honey. So cut that shit out. What was that show? Nah, not Family Matters. God damn it. All right, whatever. So yeah, lactose. This would so that's your disaccharides. Then you get your monosaccharides. That's your free fructose. Oh, so it's not just the oligosaccharides that have the fructose. They have fructans, and then monosaccharides would be free fructose in excess of glucose. So basically, interesting. Okay, so yeah, a lot of fructose, and fructose is in a lot of ish. I believe it's in corn oil, right, or corn syrup. Is that a lot of fructose? I want to say. I'm getting my nutritional facts mixed up, but actually, yeah, it says it right here. We'll get to the examples, but I'm just breaking down each one of these. So then the P is polyols, and these are your sorbitols, mannitol, maltolol, and xylitol. So those are your compounds, but let's go back to oligosaccharides. Examples of these foods that would fall under this FODMAP diet-ish would be wheat, barley, rye, onion, leek, white part of spring onion, garlic. White part of spring onion, garlic, shallots, artichokes, beetroot, fennel, peas, chicory, pistachio, cashews, legumes, lentils, and chickpeas. That's a lot of dinner options, baby. So that's going to be tough to stick to, let me tell you. But I guess it is what it is. I don't know if this is the best we've come up with. But again, if these are the compounds that are giving you the issues, then you got to just kind of decide, what's worth it, the quality of life aspect of it or the pure taste of some of these dishes, because they're delicious, let me tell you. I agree with you on that. But anyway, moving on. So those are your oligosaccharides. Then your disaccharides, we're talking, again, lactose, so we're talking milk, custard, ice cream, yogurt, milk products, day. Moving on to the monosaccharides, the free fructose. We're talking apples, pears, mangoes, cherries, watermelon, asparagus, sugar snap peas, honey, high fructose corn syrup like I thought it was. So again, high fructose corn syrup, that's an almost everything nowadays. Know what I mean? Then go back to the top of that list. We're talking apples, pears, mangoes, cherries, watermelon. Dude, these are all things you're taught growing up are healthy for you. Fruits and vegetables, but some of these issues may be bad for you if you got that upset stomach stuff. Nah, man. Okay. So yeah, you got to be careful, man. Some of these, what seem like healthy options are actually riddled with monosaccharides, which can give you a source of this flatulence bloating sensation. And then finally, with the polyols, we're talking, again, apples, pears, apricots, cherries, nectarines, peaches, plums. Oh, I love peaches. Plums. I love plums, too. Watermelon's the shit, too. I don't know. If you don't like watermelon, I don't know what the fuck is up with you. Watermelon, mushrooms, cauliflower, artificially sweetened chewing gum, and confectionery. So, yeah, this is where the chewing gum comes into play. Sometimes you get these patients coming in with just chronic loose stools and diarrhea, and they don't know what the boogie is causing it. And then you come to find out they chew like 80 pieces of gum a day. Like, come on, son. Come on. Ed Lover triggered. Oof. All right. That was a mouthful, but I think we got through that whole segment on flatulence and bloating. So hopefully y'all learned something today. If you have additional questions, throw them in to the comment section. We will, on YouTube at least, still working on getting this up on multiple other podcasting streams, but it is currently live on iTunes. Hopefully you're listening on the podcast app. If you haven't gotten it on the podcast app for Apple iPhones, please look up, just search Dr. Souls, 2 words, and it should pop up. Some of my other interviews I've done on other shows, if you just type in Dr. Souls, all 1 word will pop up on the Bad Asians podcast with David Nguyen, who I recently had on as a guest. Yeah, I'm excited, man. We're going places, hopefully, and hopefully we learn something on the way. With that said, this has been Medicine Made Easy with Dr. Azizi. I hope you enjoyed that. Let's keep them moving, baby. All right. Sorry about that, folks. Just want to look for any incriminating parts of the box. But as we open this bad boy, all right, so just by the look of the box, y'all can kind of tell what we're dealing with here. This was a recent release by Virgil Abloh of Off-White. These are the women's Nike Zoom Terra Kiger 5 Off-White. And this is an electric green, metallic silver, and vert electrique, whatever that means. This is a men's size 11, women's size 12.5. That's the cheat code, boys. If you want a women's only colorway or a women's only shoe that you want to know the size conversion, you just take your size. Add a size and a half, and you get to your women's size. So I'm a size 11 in men's, and that's a 12.5 in women's. So for whatever reason, this came out with Virgil Abloh's women's track and field collaboration or some ish, and I should probably pull up the backdrop. What would you call that? The paperage, the documentation, the debut release thing, posting. I don't even know what I'm talking about. But let's see what we can pull up here before I pull these out of the box. Let's see. I wish they would give like... Okay, well, GQ covered it, which is interesting. Occasionally, they do foray into the sneaker game, and it's kind of interesting which ones they choose to kind of highlight, if you will. But let me see here. So what do they say? It's also a women's running sneaker as part of the Swoosh's Athlete in Progress collection. Quote, athlete in progress, end quote. That's what they're calling it. So they say he tapped into the rich Nike heritage of track and field. And so the Zoom Kiger 5 is the latest, Off-White creation, if you will. Let's see. So they call this multi-directional traction, rugged, weatherproof support. Interesting. Yeah, I can see that. It can handle slippery rubber tracks or wet rocky trails with ease. Although from what I hear, a lot of people are saying the nubs come off with very routine use. So that's interesting. And it was initially unveiled at Virgil's Off-White runway show earlier this year and had shown up on the feet and Instagram of the designer himself several times since then, which I did see with Coachella. I believe that's when the general sneaker public was exposed. Hey, to this new model. And a lot of people I feel like weren't feeling it. And from what I hear, the resale costs haven't been that bad. But again, that could just be because they released a ton of pairs. Because this was my first Off-White sneakers victory or victory. No, my W came from that. So I can only imagine they made a ton of pairs. And on top of that, yeah, a lot of people weren't feeling these as far as the aesthetic goes. But it is what it is. Let's just jump right into it. Let's just take a closer look here. I'm going to open the paper. Paper looks interesting. New paper. It looks almost like a DHL logo. Interesting enough. Love the choice to put holes in the box. That's a nice little touch, I guess. And then, woo! Oh wow, man! I gotta get y'all a close up of this for sure. Let me just put this on the table. Hopefully this comes with me. I'm gonna actually put this right here. This is kind of weird multitasking this with the podcast, but this is where we're moving, baby. So, just on initial looks, I'm just gonna go into video form here. And we're live. Okay, bop, got him. Look at that. This is just amazing, man. And just pull these out. So from what I gather, I can pull in the frame here. These, yeah, definitely look less bright in person than they do in photos, that's for sure. I love this interesting lace option of black underlay and then, what do you call it? The blue kind of like rope lace type of situation going on here. This is interesting. This is made of a very different material all of a sudden. Interesting. Huh, it's like very felty, almost like it was meant to be on the golf course. So that's cool. Nike branding right on the tongue and the old school logo, a perforated tongue aspect to it. Interesting if that's what inspired the box design. I'm always a sucker for a new style of box. This is always interesting to me. Plus the new kind of DHL type logo. It's kind of cool. There's the other pair here. Yeah, so, and then of course, yeah, the medial side. And it does come with white laces as well, but I think I will dig the black laces because I'm also lazy. Then you get that classic off-white font on the other side. Silvery swoosh. This is very silvery. And then more felty suede panels along the outskirts. And then a nice bop of a black swoosh contrasting the Volt base. And then the interesting spikes on the bottom here. Love this tint of green color to them. And actually, is that blue tips on them? Actually, it definitely is. Fascinating. So yeah, man, that's super cool. From what I hear, these nubs will go down very quickly. So hey, what you gonna do? And I'll probably just add on an on-feet segment just for its own separate segment. But we'll keep it moving here. Yeah. So, why am I so tired? This is exhausting, Mike. Yeah, so that's another new shrivel to the Off-White lineage. So yeah, it's interesting to see what Virgil will do next. I definitely would want to also, actually, let's just roll this into the release segment. I think I am looking forward to potentially seeing that collab that Nike is doing again with Virgil, and was it Futura? Not very familiar with his work, but I know he's been collabed with on multiple sneakers all over Nike's history, so he's definitely no rookie. He or she, geez, I really should have done my homework on this one, but I don't know. Something just never appealed to me to look into him or her. Same thing with Cause. It's just Cause. I definitely respect the more and more I learn about him, but I just never caught that wave, so I'm not about to just like dive in now. You know what I mean? But I get it now, especially looking back and being like, oh, that's what was featured on Kanye's 808s and Heartbreaks album art. Although it's weird that some album art is different than the others. Like, shouldn't it just be one standard album art? Anyway, we're getting off on a tangent here. Let's get back to the sneaker release. Definitely looking forward to that. Those Dunk Lows that Virgil's cooking up, and we saw him wearing. Definitely prefer the orange pair to the UNC bluish, baby bluish pair, but that's just me. No official release date, but it would it. But you know, since we're here, why don't we just look into a specific, what do you call it? A specific sneaker release detail here. So let's go to Goat's calendar. I think that's what we used last time, and it worked out pretty good. So. What just dropped? The Sketch to Shelf University Red. It was a very much an for me. The Lundmark Coup, but again, not enough different there to keep me from, or I should say, not enough new here for me to be like, nah, I'm gonna, definitely add this on. Am I even making sense? I don't know. Why am I'm like beat all of a sudden? Oof, loaded. But no, I'm wondering now if this is the first iteration of them without the heel tab, because that's kind of interesting. Not enough of a reason for me to get it, I'll be honest with you. But anyway, let's just keep them moving here. Sketch to Shelf. The white, I like the white a lot better. Stranger Things Blazer, I think, is the best of the whole pack for the Stranger Things collab, but apparently they're not selling very well from what I hear, but I don't know. Where's the release calendar? I want to know releases. I want to see your calendar. Collections, under retail, day, trending. What the fuck? I want to know the release calendar, buddy. I used to put up dates. I guess I could just look it up on my phone. Why don't we just do that? Save everybody the trouble. Update the app. Jesus Christ. Are we really doing this right now? So is this what we're doing? Yuck. Anyway, well, I guess I'm not that concerned with it. The only other recent releases that really caught my attention were, let's see. That's not on this page, apparently. Actually, I guess we could briefly instead talk about Kanye's interview with, was it Forbes or Business Insider, whatever. Yeah, what was up with that interview, man? That was just, I'm just confused. Like, how did that even come about? Like, what was the genesis of that idea, and why did it seem so low budget for something with much higher expectations of it, I would say. If you told me that they were doing a video and I saw that video, I'd be like, yo, this ain't it, chief. Nah, man. But maybe that's just me. I don't know. So I'm just trying on the app here just to see if that's useful, but apparently not. So I guess we're out of luck here. Oh, calendar. There it is. I just saw it. So the calendar feature, and let me see if it's the same on the website. I guess not. Ugh. Anyway, calendar says nothing interesting. A lot of new boosts that everyone's just ignoring. I get it. It's nothing new. The undercover day breaks in the yellow colorway coming out. Those, I thought caught on better than I expected them to do, but I don't know if they're doing particularly well as far as the hype goes. So the Para Dunk Low. Oof, that one, bruh. Apparently there's a Blazer and a Dunk Low, and apparently there's a friends and family version someone hinted to me about. Apparently it's got a gum sole to it and a green upper, if I remember what I saw this morning. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to that. That's a must-cop for sure. Love Piet Para. Super dope Dutch artist if you don't know. So yeah, why don't we leave this segment at that? Definitely looking forward to that. Actually, just to wrap up with the Kanye talk, I think with Kanye, I saw a lot of cool designs there, and we finally saw some visuals, actual samples of the 451s, which I think is a callback to Fahrenheit 451, aka The Fires, aka Flames Triggered, Backdraft Triggered. Hey, yo, great ride at Universal, or show, I guess. And yeah, I think I'm excited to see what else Kanye's going to be busting out. And he had a lot of good points in that interview. Respect, my G. Respect. I give you one of these. Anyway. What else? Yeah, I think we'll wrap up the release right there. The release segment. Boom. So, next segment, let's talk Lakers. And what's new with the Lakers? So, I think since the last time I did this, the catch up on the Lakers is that, wow. It's going to be interesting to see, man. We got a lot of big boss. We got Boogie. We got JaVale McGee. Shaq Triggered. We've got, who's the other dude? Oh, AD. Yeah, so that's a lot of big boys. And then LeBron, Soulja Boy Triggered. LeBron is also a big boy, and he's going to be playing the point. So that's a fascinating situation, if I can say so myself. Alliteration triggered. And what else can be said about this? Man? I lost my train of thought. What's going on here? Sometimes you pull a Michael Scott. You go off on a tangent. There's no turning back. Anyway. Let's see. How did I just lose my entire train of thought? Oh, Lakers. Got it. So this is a fascinating setup because they also got Rajon Rondo coming back, which has had success with the Lakers before the LeBron injury. He's had some individual success elsewhere, whether it was with Boston winning the championship or where else? I think he had a decent impact in Sacramento, I want to say, but I feel like head case rumors were kind of swirling around that, if I remember correctly. And then in New Orleans, he was balling, baby, with AD, and now they're reunited, and hopefully it feels so good. Hopefully. And then outside of that, who's the other side? Oh, Danny Green. He can shoot, boy. Boy, can he shoot. So if he gets his shot off and gets in his spots, as the pundits like to say, gets his spots. What is he, a dog? Oh, God. All right. No. So yeah, the Lakers are kind of poised here. Oh, and don't forget my buddy Kuz. What a chill dude, man. What a chill guy. He seems like a really, really nice guy, let me tell you. But yeah, so that's a solid squad right there, bro. And they go relatively deep, I guess, if you're counting those off the bench dudes. But yeah, it should be an interesting season, man. I'm excited to see what gets cooked up here. Maybe some additional signings coming. Who knows? But that brings me to the Clippers, because then I'm just thinking, man, it would have been nice to get Kawhi. Would have been nice. But it's kind of interesting now. I think the NBA is in a fantastic position right now. You got a lot of solid teams instead of the classic bullshit, you know what I mean? And I think I'll save that topic for another time. But I had a qualm about this exact thing. Where it was my argument against the Colin Cowherd school of thought, if you will, which is it's always been top heavy. What is everyone complaining about? There's a little bit of a difference, and I think I'll save that for another sports segment. So actually, let me write that down before I forget, and then we'll definitely reference that back on the next episode, which I may just film right after this, baby. Let me tell you, because I'm hitting a stride here, and that may just be what I got to do. But stay tuned. So other topics. Just write it under sports topic. We gonna say argument against top heavy NBA during prime Warriors Cavs era. So that's going to be a topic I want to talk about next time, hopefully. But there's no rules here, baby. Except that there are no rules, baby, or whatever. Do we leave it at that for the Lakers? Oh, yeah. So basically, I'm excited to see because, even though we didn't get Kawhi, he did go to the rival team with another LA guy, Paul George. So now we got and then they got Patrick Beverley, who's also a good defender. So they got some dogs over there too. So it's going to be some interesting LA basketball, baby. If you are in the Los Angeles region and you don't check out one of these 4 games, Lord have mercy, I thought hurricane season was over. I can't even say you a real basketball fan. I'm getting a little carried away here, but I hope you get my sentiment. It's just like, bro, that might be some of the best competitive basketball you'll ever see in terms of just like a matchup of talent, not just like an individual effort, which, of course, any city that LeBron plays in is LeBron Fest. I get that. He deserves that, right? But there's got to be something to be said where you're watching 2 heavyweight teams kind of going back and forth with each other, being in the same city, being in the same arena. That's wild. That's wild. That's with prime-ish LeBron, possibly the greatest player of all time, and then you got Kawhi coming in close on that title too with everything he's been doing lately. Watch out, baby. Watch out. This could be something serious. Unlike that noise I just made. Anyway, do we leave it at that? Yeah, so that's a Lakers segment, and perhaps I'll have that consume the entire sports segment for today instead of splitting it up into just Laker talk and then just general sports talk. But I definitely want to focus on the Lakers more this year. That could be a lot of fun, man. But let me just go to the NBA page. That's just because what I'm thinking of buying, you know what I mean? It's kind of slow in the sports world here, so maybe I'll just leave it at that. I will say, back to LA for a minute, Russell Westbrook. Interesting to see him go. So now OKC triggered, am I right? Because they started with an entire dynasty, and now they left with nothing, so to speak. Still got beautiful jerseys. Love that blue. Love their style of play in that prime era. Let's just salute Oklahoma City for everything they did, along with the Seattle Supersonics for that last year, that first year of KD's career, last year of the Sonics career. That was an interesting time, man. I feel like that was ages ago, but that wasn't too long ago, man. I remember that now. And it's kind of fascinating to see what OKC went through. I mean, you don't expect much from them, rebrand, new city, day-to-day. But then, boom, boom, boom. Russell Westbrook kind of impressed me with I think it was a Sprite dunk contest pre-commercial show type of thing where they would have Russell and the other competitors kind of do interviews and stuff. And he was such a fun, jovial, smiling guy. That's the Russell I fell in love with. And then when he started getting better and more serious in the playoffs, and then all of a sudden changed the entire fashion dynamic of the NBA single-handedly, bro. And listen, I'm not saying there weren't other NBA players doing fashion-ish. I'm sure there was. It's just no one put it on the map the same way Russell's doing / has done. And I kind of compare it to can a lot of players shoot three-pointers? Sure. But who do you know for three-pointers now? It's Steph Chef Curry. Am I right or am I right? So, I'll give me one of these. Hey. So, anything else to be said there? Damn, man, these sound board issues are making me lose my mind. Or I'm just tired. I don't know, man. I got to get back in the swing of things. I ain't been to New York in quite a minute, so glad to be here. What was I going to say? Damn it. NBA. If you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball. Salute to the OKC franchise, the Thunder franchise, the whole rebrand of the franchise name and everything. And then, Russell coming in, Harden coming into his own. You got KD cooking. It was just a fun time. You got Ibaka, the blocker. You had, was it New Zealand dude? Steven Adams? Steven, right? Adams is definitely the last name. That dude is a dog, man. That dude is, oof. He's the exact kind of guy I hate playing pickup basketball against because, like, they just rough you up, man. There's nothing you can do about it. What are you going to do? Bitch about it, a.k.a. be a whoosh, be. Nah, you just got to toughen up and do it, you know, all that macho-ish. But it is what it is, you know what I mean? So, let me think. Let me think. Ugh. Yeah, man. Good job, Sam Presti, the GM over there. Apparently from the Spurs lineage, who R.C. Buford, another one of those great masterminds behind the scenes, from the Popovich School of Thought, I would imagine. A lot of greatness and brilliance going on, bro. So salute to that. But, yeah, I guess they got to officially start a whole new rebrand now that Russell Westbrook's gone. I'm trying to bring this all back full circle to Russell Westbrook because he is definitely one of my favorite players to watch. Just his emotions, his fashion, of course, his attitude towards the game and the killer instinct that he not only plays with and plays wholeheartedly with, clearly with so much effort, but he also shows it with his faces and his reactions and his hardness on the court. So that's kind of fun to watch. I think it's a good character for him. But I imagine he's a fun-loving father and husband at home, and that's kind of cool. You know what I mean? So, Colin Cowherd, get off of his dick, bro. What the fuck, son? Chill. Yeah. Why don't we leave it at that? Salute to Russell. Could be interesting, man. Him reunited with James Harden. Could be fun to watch. Hopefully it's fun to watch. Who else did they got over there? I forget. But, yeah, going to be interesting. Going to be an interesting season because, again, it's not a lot of top-heavy talent anymore. So we're going to – and the league has no KD whatsoever / Clay for a majority of the season. So it's going to be interesting to see what Golden State does too. It's going to be quite the season. 'Tis the season to watch basketball. La, 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 la. It's just too early for this. Okay. And I'm out of breath. Okay. Wow. I don't know why I'm rambling like this today, but I will definitely be better rested for next time. I promise, guys. We're all just chill. Just glad to be back. Like I said. Home base, baby. Yeah, baby. KL triggered. Okay. So that's sports. That's fun. All right. So live Q&A portion. Yes, sirree, I guess. Let's just load up. I think I'll just do, what do you call it? It's not even logged in here. Maybe I will just do, you know what? I'm thinking of skipping the Q&A segment this time. Or at least I'll do a canned question from last time that I didn't get to last time. Why don't we do that? That'll be a lot less pressure for me because I feel like I get lost in the world of the Q&As and then I get exhausted. Shit is exhausting. Let's see. You guys wanted to hear about pros and cons of living in New York City. New York City living. One of the pros is you just have access to everything, or at least you feel like you do. And that's a great feeling to just be like, you know what? If they got it here for sure. I'll find it. Very rare that there's something out there that's not also here. So that's kind of cool. And again, we're talking things that maybe you can't even afford, but you just know that someday maybe you could afford it, and then maybe if you wanted to, you could attain it. Just having that connection, I think, is a big, powerful engine for a lot of people's drives here because they see their, kind of possessional, subjective, objective ratings of what's going on in their environments and their associations of success and all that kind of ish. So it's kind of cool to see that dynamic, especially with so many people crammed into such a tiny space. It feels very tender and close to me, even though it's really not. It's just a ton of strangers. You know, I've got people literally under my feet for multiple floors, and I will never maybe ever get to know them, so it's just like, or let alone run into them. So that's not strange here. But at the same time, there is, to me at least, a little bit of a tenderness to the city that sits, at least with me, anytime I'm walking the streets and I'm just like surrounded by people. Just like the energy of being surrounded by other people is just like, it's a very calming, I guess, presence in my opinion. But with that said, the con is you can kind of get lost in that world, that whole concrete jungle. So to even that out, when you see people just kind of sitting on the park bench, not even moving, they're just sitting there. You think they're just sitting there being like, oh, but they're not. They're actually taking in nature the way we're designed as creatures to do. That's why, like, I remember spending just about a month here when I was back here in medical school, semi-living here while doing rotations out here. And then a month or so in, not even, I think, I've visited back home, upstate New York, for the first time in that period that I'd left. And it was such a calming experience, just having a backyard, seeing green everywhere, being able to hear actual birds and crickets throughout the day and night. That was like a trippy experience almost, having spent so much time in the city, not going to parks and not kind of having pets or any kind of connection with something organic to kind of keep your, quote, human inner soul happy and hungry and healthy or whatever. So that's kind of the pro and con. Those are kind of the main two pros and cons, I would say, if you want to just like bury the issue down into two glaring pro and a con. That's what I'll give you today. How's that? Hopefully that helps. Oh, yeah. I think that should do it for this episode, folks. So, yeah, appreciate you tuning in. This was fun. I kind of let my mind a little bit, let it wander a little bit. And it's kind of fun to just kind of like let your brain kind of float into different thinking patterns just to see what happens, even though I feel like it'd be nice to have more creative ones. But I feel like maybe that's coming with practice, right? Especially the more I vocalize them instead of just internalizing them in my head. That can be an interesting play out as far as, could this get polished? We'll see. So right now we're just raw digging little holes to explore, and maybe someday we'll have like a nice little drill bit. Something very crisp to kind of get more precise little dabs. No pain, but still some gain. Hey, yo. Okay. I think that's enough. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Really appreciate you. And stay tuned. More on the way. And bye, I guess.